Oh man, I am super, super duper excited about today because I get to introduce somebody who's my co-pilot, who's my right hand, who's my best friend, my Dembe, my gosh, dude, you sit next to me as we mix, as we record, as we create from beginning to the end of the album. You are there, Justin. Kaleo Okolani Nalimu from Hilo, Hawaii. The first time ever that I met him officially, it was at a concert, and he actually promoted the concert, and I didn't even know it. And the second time, he hooked me up with a place to stay in Hawaii. He let me borrow a keyboard, and I said, "Hey, can you play this thing?" And he said, "I can try." And I put up the hardest track on the album, and he did a solo from beginning to end. It was perfection. And I said, "You're not just gonna let me borrow your keyboard, you're gonna play keyboards." He co-produced Avian Blackman's Third World Girl album with me, and then we came back out to Hilo, Hawaii, and we demoed our reggae worship album. And I don't want to say demoed, I want to say recorded, because he did How Great Is Our God from scratch in 15 minutes. Drums all the way through, bass all the way through. It was flawless. It's what you hear on the album, with the exception of live drums and live horns. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up to Justin Kaleo Okalani Nalimu. If you're watching us from Instagram, head on over right now to ascendmasterclasses.com and sign up for today's Building Beats and a Song. Now, Justin, we had a challenge for you. Are you ready for it? It's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Today's most popular worship song. This thing started cracking 3 months ago, right when, well, what else started? The pandemic was hitting the world. And it's by Cody Carnes, Carrie Joby. It's called The Blessing. We want you to do a reggae version, and we're so convinced. We already laid down the pads. We had your Hilo sister come in and lay down some scratch vocals. So will you build us this song? Again, if you're watching from Instagram, head on over, ascendmasterclasses.com to see the rest.
Perfect. So
let's do it, Justin.
All right, perfect. So we're gonna start simple, and I'm gonna play you how you probably would normally hear it on a Sunday morning. So check this out. So this is just piano and pads right now, doing the intro. It's like a normal Sunday morning. And here comes the vocals for the verse.
Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace.
But now let's try this, you guys.
Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace.
So today I'm going to show you how I would take a worship song and flip it to a reggae cover. And so due to time purposes...
Can I just say, that sounds so much better, dude. That sounds so much better. My soul is singing right now.
Great. So due to time purposes and the length of the original song, I've decided to condense everything. So if you're familiar with the song, today I'm doing an intro, 2 verses, a chorus, another 2 verses, another chorus, and then doing the bridge in its entirety, 1 more chorus, and then we're out. So don't be worried if or
And that's the
confused.
short version.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I timed it last night. It went down to 6 minutes. So
Oh, it went from what? From what? 8 or what?
8 or 9.
My
So the
gosh. You
yeah.
remember back in the time when that was the length of 3 songs?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just to give you guys some background, I'm gonna show you how we build the verses and the choruses, and then when we hit it again, I'll just show you different elements that I like to do, bringing things in, bringing things out, or dynamics. So here we go. So I am gonna right now I'm gonna start with the piano chank, and today we're working off a Logic Pro 10 on the MacBook on the Mac Pro Catalina, and the piano is Native Instruments, and it is the Grandeur. And I kind of spoke about this where it's a grand piano, and I have the ability to open and close the lid. So that's the patch that I'm using for my chanks. So right now we're going to focus on the intro, and for the intro we're winging it. So there's now we're going to go to the bass, and the bass is I don't play a bass guitar or a drum, so everything is all keys today or synths. And my bass is again from Native Instruments, and it is hold on. I'm gonna get my magnifying glass in my eyes. It
Justin,
is
you're incredible with what you're doing, dude.
it is a Scarby pre-bass. Thanks.
For those who don't know, Justin's legally blind. When I first met him, he was doing everything by knowing where the buttons were on what kind of keyboard was that?
It was a Roland Phantom.
Roland Phantom, and now you have to use a computer screen. Thankfully, it's a very large screen, but he figures out workaround ways. Let's go, dude. By the way, we got Trinidad and Tobago in the house,
Right.
North Carolina, and Bolivia, Seattle. I hope it's not coming from Chop or Chaz or whatever. I don't think they have Wi-Fi there.
Anyways, back to the
Bahamas,
song.
India.
I'm gonna try to write a bass line. So now we have piano and bass. Now is the fun part because I get to pretend to be a drummer when I'm not. And for drums, I do things from 2 channels. I do a hi-hat. Oh, and I play all these live. I don't use loops or samples. And so my drum plugin is TuneTrack's Superior Drummer, and I have a reggae kit, and I'll get into that in a few seconds. But now let's do the hi-hat.
Little shuffle like Carlton Barrett there.
So now we hit the the kick and the snare and everything else. And so just to give you an idea, this on this plugin I have different snare options, and so I like it. I would recommend it if you don't have a live kit. So here we go.
Woo, yeah.
And just because I like it, I'm gonna add a little bonus and
Ooh, I
have
like
a timbale
bonuses.
on its own channel because I put a ton of reverb on it.
Lord bless.
Just like that. Oh, and by the way, everything's being quantized. It's an automatic quantize today. I have it on what is it called? Give me a second.
Is this
In
song
Logic.
swung? Is it
No,
swung or straight?
Nope, it's not swung. Thank you, Jesus.
Praise the Lord. Okay, swung
So I have
songs
it-
are harder to quantize.
I have it quantized on 32 notes, and there's a feature where I just press it beforehand, so after each stem, I don't have to quantize it. So now let's do the bubble.
So instead of 16, which is what this is in, right?
Yeah.
It's 32, so it's super focused, but it's not going to be flawlessly perfect. It'll have that little feel. By the way, the cool thing about this is when he did these kinds of finger drums on our previous albums, the drummer then goes in and just does them verbatim because he likes them so much.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing I'm thankful to have with my background and with CHRISTAFARI is I'm surrounded by amazing drummers. So when I write my songs, I think, oh, how would Tyrone actually play this? Or how would so and so would do this? Or how would Marcus play this live? And just kind of use your imagination. So now we're on the bubble, and this is from the vintage B3 patch on Logic. So if you have Logic or Mainstage, you already have this bubble, and it's like real soft and yeah, this is nothing is mixed or EQ'd. This is like as if I'm writing the song like live, which I am. So here we go. Hold on. So got a behind the scenes secret. We're using some new software to give you guys true stereo for Zoom, and due to that, I have some latency. And those
That
who
is
know me
frustrating.
very well, I don't like latency. Latency is of the devil. But
Yes.
that's
For me
what
too,
that's
as a
what I'm
singer, I
dealing
can't
with
stand
today.
it.
But it's not as bad as it could have been. So I got to retract the drums real fast. Cool. Now we're good.
Is this the same tempo as the original by Cody and
Yeah,
Terry?
it's similar. Yeah, I think it's the same. and we ended
How
up
did you determine the tempo?
a tap tempo. Well,
Okay.
I hear it in my head, and like sorry, what most people do is they use a tap tempo.
Yeah, on your
But
phone, you just
what I'll do is I'll listen to it, and I'll kind of get a feel of, okay, it's near 75 or 77, and then
this one. How fast is this one again? 70,
um
70.
yeah, I think it's
Looks
70.
like it's 70. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta look like 8 stories up to the top of that screen.
So we get you to do your exercise. You got to stand up to do that thing. and then for the vocals, somebody asked, how did we get the voice to go in time? Click track helps, having
Yeah.
having some sort of chanks or whatever, and knowing the original. So the person who sings the scratch isn't always the person who sings it in the studio later on. In this case, we're using somebody else because Avion did not know the track. A lot of times we use Thiago Costa, who's a worship leader and our good friend.
Yeah.
So we'll hear this until eventually we'll replace it with mine, Avion's, and other vocals. Sometimes we'll keep the original as well.
Great. So now the bubble. So that is the foundation of the intro. Now, um, now I figure out if we're gonna do a lead for the intro, and I'll just put something on real quick. This is one of my synths that I have on standby. Or an organ. That probably won't even be final. I'm just
That's
sticking
sweet.
something in right now.
I love that.
Thanks. So now let's hit the verse. And
Are you using any stock Logic plugins on this?
oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to walk through that one. Yeah, the organ is stock, and that sound that I just used is from That Worship Sound, and it's stock, but a friend of mine sound designed it to make it sound like a modern worship patch. So the only
That
stock
worship
thing,
sound.
yeah. So the only, like, if you don't buy an extra plugin, the only thing that you can use right off the bat is the organ. So
Okay, so that's what and then do you recall if there's any CHRISTAFARI songs that were made only by virtual instruments? Any or Avion songs? I can think of a bunch, but they all use drum loops, like real drum loops.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time where we used
You know
your
what?
finger drums?
You know what? You're right. There was actually two songs. Um, Trailblazers and Lock and Step.
Ooh, yeah. Boom! Lock and Step. Check it out. The music video is out. That is entirely virtual instruments. I think there was a little guitar added, but it wasn't a lead part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and no horns. So yeah, Lock and Step, the music video that's out right now. Nice. And
Cool.
that's all you. That was all you.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. So now the piano chunks for the verse.
Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace.
Something I realized that I didn't do um for the intro. Wait, maybe I did. For the piano, weird. I would, if you're doing reggae chants, I would recommend you do the 2 octaves, not just the one. This is the 2, not just the left hand or the right hand. But if you do the 2 octaves, it gives you a fuller sound. Okay, so now, I'm just going as I go. So, I guess Bubbles can be next.
Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace.
Things like the bubbles and the chunks, I'll tend to put them back at 16ths for the quantizing, just cause it's not too busy. So let's do the bass.
Lord
Nope,
bless Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face.
So here's a quick thing. As I'm learning these songs, it's a lot more different than writing your own original song, because as we rewrite these cover songs, we want to make sure that we put our own sound and our own twist to it, but at the same time, we want to keep it congregational. So when we show up at a church, it's easy for the church to sing along and not be like, "Oh, what song is this?" and not be able to follow it. So with that in mind, I try to make sure I follow all of the chord structures. And so I'm trying to remember it right now. So here we go.
Yeah, they'll be singing the original in their head.
Lord
Yeah.
bless you
We'll do the reggae version.
and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace. Lord bless you.
So if you have a moment when you're tracking and then you're gonna forget what your next line is, I'd recommend just stop at the beginning, like right before the next measure, so it's easy for you to come back in and continue on instead of try to delete and copy and paste. Like for me, I kind of lost my train of thought, so I stopped it right. I stopped playing right at the measure, so now I can jump back in.
And give you peace. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Ah.
So that's the bass for the verse. Now we do drums.
Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Ah.
So what I did there is, as I was tracking the drums, I was giving you different hi-hat options. So I don't know how to count it or number it or say the numbers, but here's one option or another one or another one. So that's what I was. That's why I was giving you different hi-hat options. I wasn't all over the place, just showing you different ways you could do it. And for now, we're doing the intro and the verse with the one drop.
Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen.
So there's the verse, you guys. Now let's move to the chorus. And so we're gonna do the same process again, doing the piano.
Give you peace. Amen.
Now the bass.
Hey, Justin, really quick.
Yeah.
That amen section. Are we gonna pull out and go rhythm there?
No, I'm building it.
I
I'm
know,
building it.
but I like that. I like that. Can we do the first half rhythm and the second half beat?
Sure, I can.
Because I feel like it's it accentuates it sometimes when we do rhythm. Like in Hosanna, first chorus was rhythm, if you
Mhm.
recall. Let's do that. Hey, what bass plugin are you using here?
It is the Scarby preamp from Native Instruments. Let me pull it up so you can see it. Yeah. So it's this one, and then it looks like this, and then
Scarby pre-bass amped.
yeah,
That's what it is, right? Okay.
yeah, and then for me, I liked. Everyone has their different opinions, and honestly, I'm not the smartest with EQ. I like bass, so I put a lot of low ends on my bass. So if you're familiar with Logic, I'm using the bass amp and EQ. So anyways, okay, let's do the bubble then.
And give you peace. Amen. 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 Amen.
Okay. Now the bass.
And give you peace. Amen. Amen.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, dude. What kind of controller do you have there?
I'm using the Yamaha motif. So it's just a regular keyboard.
So, okay, you have a regular keyboard. How many keys? Weighted or
Six-
not?
It's not weighted. It's 61. I know everyone has their
61.
preference, but yeah, 61 keys, non-weighted Yamaha motif XF. I love it.
Okay, 61. Great. Thanks.
So when I'm like I said, when I'm playing these tracks, I'm imagining how these will be played live or in the studio. Okay. Sorry. So whenever we do pullouts like that, Tyrone would do the timbale. So you can either do a. That's easiest with quantizing because it's just one hit. But sometimes if we want to do it like realistic, we'll do. So let's do the.
I love that flam. It's all about the flam.
Okay, that's the word.
And give you peace. Amen.
So now that because we're doing that that flam, we're not going to quantize it.
Amen. Amen.
now we do the kick and snare, and then we're done with drums for this chorus, anyways. Okay, so now that we're done with the chorus, we're moving on to the next verse. And like I said earlier, due to time and the length of the song in class, now I have the rest kind of laid out, and I'm just going to show you some of the extra little things I like to put on a track. So what I normally would do, I'll do like a drum and bass section. Where are we at? Let's take.
While you're doing that, I want to answer a question here. Gyro asked what we do for mastering. We don't actually master our own stuff. That's one of my rules. You'll hear me talk about in my mixing, not my mixing class, but my producing class, is I always trust somebody else to master after the fact. I never like to be the one who mixes and masters. You got to have checks and balances.
Yeah. So, for the second verse, we're going to move into a drum and bass section. So with that, I have delay channels already set and reverb piano channels set. So let's do this.
Beautiful, bro. Love that. George Smith said, "I noticed a little red on the level. Is that okay to do that?" I think since you're working with MIDI, that doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, and then again, like I said earlier, for today's purposes, I'm not mixing, I'm not EQing, I'm just
Yeah.
the process is writing the song. So
Yeah.
I make sure that it's not clipping in my ears or distorting, but other than that,
Yeah.
I'm honestly
Since
not
you're
paying
dealing with
attention.
MIDI, it does. Yeah, since you're dealing with MIDI, that doesn't matter until you're actually bouncing it down or rendering it.
Yeah.
So I think that you're good there. Another question, Kirsten said, any suggestion for adding accompaniment to a melody? I think what that person means is to actually be playing the melody along with the vocals. I wouldn't do that. I would let the vocals stand alone,
Yeah.
and
And
I would have
actually,
everything else work around it and not compete with it or add to it.
and you're right, because actually I had a lot of my melodies following the vocals. But
Okay.
after talking to Mark and Thiago about it, I took all those out and rewriting it on the spot today.
Yeah, and so a big portion of it is letting the vocal lead and not competing with it. You think you need to reinforce it, you really shouldn't need to reinforce it. Let's
Yeah.
keep rolling. Great questions, guys. Keep them coming.
Lord bless you and keep you. Make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. Amen.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you something extra that I tend to put in some songs. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it for the final, but here's one of the little, not production secrets, but here's what I would do.
Amen. Amen. Lord bless you and keep you. Make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. Lord bless you.
So sometimes if the song calls for it, I'll do like a little synth thing behind or between the vocals, like right here.
Make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord turn His face toward you.
Okay, so now let's hear the chorus with the full band.
And a lot of times we'll end up taking that synth melody and turning it into a horn melody.
Yeah.
Real quick, stock Logic drums. They're not. What are you using for the drums again?
For drums, it's from TuneTrack, and it's called Superior Drummer, and the specific kit I'm using is called Easy Reggae.
Okay, great. And what amp plugin are you using for Scarby Bass?
Oh, yeah. For Logic users, I am using, it's called the Bass Amp, but
It all sounds so good, by the way.
it's the
Get some
Bass Amp,
Ampeg.
and then it's the off, it's on Deep.
Deep.
So
Okay, deep.
there's
Screenshot
different-
that, whoever's watching it. Deep bass amp. Okay, yeah, that looks great. The bass amp, deep. Awesome.
Cool. So here's the track with the full band doing the chorus. So, um, this is gonna be interesting. Um, I do like I said, due to time purposes, I did pre-record the bridge, but I'm gonna explain to you how I did it because this is one of those um 8 minute long bridges. It's not 8 minutes today, but when you repeat the same sentence for 800 times, yeah. Anyways, respect to the songwriters. Um, in when I write bridges, I like to, especially if it's the long bridges, I like to slowly build them up. And I'm actually still refining that process, but
Just like what you did
sometimes,
in What a Beautiful Name. Man, you built
yeah,
that suckers. You stacked it higher than the Empire State.
yeah, there's no stacks today, but like today for this bridge, I have like a semi rhythm for the first part of the bridge. I don't know what you would call it. Then I bring it in with the drum kit, and then the next one around I do it with a steppers beat, and then I build up the organ. I do like a quicker bubble, and then right at the ending, at the climax, we mix it up, and then I had Kavihana do like a whole stack of vocals. So I'll play you the bridge, and then we can talk about it after. I'm going to add an organ right now. And that's how I make a CHRISTAFARI worship song bridge, if it's a Hill song or Bethel song. And so yeah, what I did was
I think I just wrote a chat part for that.
yeah, no, like I said, this is
I'm gonna do a little chat on that end part.
yeah the final
If God
version.
is with you, and will never be against. Something like that. It's gonna be fun.
There
man.
is room for that actually.
Yeah, man.
So that's how I build it on the bridge. So I can do a quick breakdown. So I don't know what it's called, but like, well, there's no it's not the full beat, it's just piano and chanks and a bass hit. On the drums, I just go. So that's what that first part is. And then with the bass, I'm just doing the one hit. So And then just to bring some difference in the sound, I'm hitting another note. So I'll do it on the piano so it's more, you can hear it more. So it's, so what you normally would do is go to the F note. But on that bass, on that last note, I went to an A. So that's what that was.
And the children, his favor, be upon you in 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and the children, and the children. His favor be upon
And now this is the part where it's just the kick and snare, the drums coming in with the full band. And I did a feel that Tyrone would do live with the timbale. I love when he does that in the studio. And keeping that hi-hat driving. Now we bring the stepper, that's 4 on the floor with the kick.
Yeah, got to build it up with the steppers.
Yeah. And with the bubble, I think I'm going double. No. Yeah, I'm like that. Just to keep that sound of driving. Now we mix it up. Now we're at the last chorus, and I actually didn't finish it, but if we're doing the Hosanna formula, then this is where we would drop out the bass and the drums again. Let's see how that sounds. Let me put a timbale there and watch. And let's try this. Nope, let's fix that note. Almost done, guys. Let me just add this part, and we can call the song finished.
You're killing it, man. And you know it's far from finished.
Yeah,
This is where we begin. As we'll talk about in the album production, song production tracks that I'm going to be teaching on, we typically spend about 2 to 3 hours to demo. Would you say that's right? And
Yeah.
about 2 to 7 days to record. Typically, a good average would be 6, maybe, to get it to where it's perfect and where we're happy with it. But yeah, 16-song album or 19 songs can take quite a few months, especially when you tour as much as us. Real quick, a few questions. Can you talk a little bit about the pads you're using? What instruments do you use when you do use them? For pads, that is.
For pads, this is from that worship sound. So the pads you hear on the chorus these are both soft pads, but like this. And then for the bridge, I'm using another variation, but I'm droning the pads. Droning means I'm just holding the notes, the same 3 notes for that whole section. And let me show you
Okay, so essentially, from what I understand, if it's in a certain key, a certain chord progression, you can hold down a few notes, 1 or 2 or however many, and those can actually work for all the changes, like what we did in "Hark the Herald Angels Sing."
Something like kind of different, but here, watch.
Okay.
So that's the one pad playing all the chords, but now here's the bridge with just the drones. Oh no, where is it? Oh, different section. See, it's the same 3 notes. See how it just fits perfectly? Okay, so as we finished
another really quick thing there, Justin. Sorry to interrupt. Somebody was asking about, do you consider putting the pads in other parts of the song or just think it sounds good in the intro? Justin puts them through the entire song. I usually end up stripping them down to select moments.
And that's what I did today.
The bridge or towards the end of the bridge. For sure the chorus. Times prefers to not have any pads at all. If he uses them, he'll use them just in a chorus. But they can tend to make the song more worshipful, a little more Australian, and a little less Jamaican. But we try to find that Christafari sound, and usually it's a wall of sounds, right? Would you agree?
Yeah. So you will be the first to hear a demo of this song. So here it goes from and like I said, this is the intro, 2 verses, 1 chorus, 2 verses, 1 chorus, the full bridge, 2 choruses, then we're out. Enjoy. Let's try it again. There we go. So wait, good thing we did that because there's no pad there. So let me make it sound a little churchy real fast, but not too churchy.
Face toward you and give you peace. Lord bless you, give you peace. Amen. Amen. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen. Amen.
Yeah, I like you breaking it there.
And that's the song. If there are any
Dude,
questions,
yes, there are a bunch. Let's plow through them. Okay. First one, how do you cover a song from a legal standpoint? I'll be the one to answer that. We use something called DistroKid. We used to use Easy Song License Covering or Easy whatever, the other ones where you have to pay in advance and then you hope that it does as well as you pay. But in this case, with DistroKid, we secure it and then essentially as the royalties come in, the they go out directly to the artist with that or to the songwriter without you ever having to pay anybody. It just comes out of your take. I will talk more about that in my producing class. And next one we have: do you play with the velocity on the drums? Do you change the velocity in some point? I think what you meant, the
yes,
sensitivity.
yeah, I don't do it. I know exactly what you mean. Hold on. I'm getting too relaxed now that we
I
finished.
think it's a sensitivity thing,
No,
right?
well, what they're talking about is going into the notes and I think messing with the velocity through there. But for me, I don't even touch. I don't even go into that screen for any of my keys. I just do like yeah, sensitivity. So like it just depends how hard or how soft I hit the keys.
Okay, great, awesome. And next one is getting a keyboard a must-have to create beats with a laptop? I would
Um,
say yes. A controller would be the best. A small MIDI controller is all you need.
I know people who use the actual computer keyboard, but me personally, I can't. Like, there's people who
I
know how to
wouldn't do
do
that.
that, but unfortunately, I'm not one of those people. So I do prefer a keyboard or MIDI controller.
Now, times when he travels with something about the size of a melodica, right?
Yeah,
And it's you're very limited in how wide it is, but it definitely covers. You can get the notes that you need.
yeah, it gets the job done.
Awesome. Okay. Sounds really good. Do you pan your tracks? David Kim is asking.
Um, usually, well, sometimes I will. Like, normally, I'll just sit all afternoon and write like 30, 40 songs. And if I don't have a time limit, I'll decide, okay, maybe this organ goes to the left or this organ goes to the right, or I'll pan my synths left, center, right. But yeah, today was the super quick version. But yeah, I can pan sometimes.
I will when I get them from him. And
Yeah.
what will likely last on this version is anything that was played with keys, whether it's organ, bubble pads, things like that, will likely last. Sometimes we'll go into the studio and we'll change that out and use live organs or live Rhodes, live Wurlitzers, or even a live piano. Sometimes grand piano,
Mm-hmm.
where you can't do MIDI quantization. So it's a little more of a challenge with that, but it sounds really, really nice. Although these Alicia Keys patches just sound fantastic as is. So we will replace the bass, we will replace the drums, we won't replace the synths, and then I will do the panning later. And if he gives me one pad, it'll be centered. If he gives me two, they'll be like that. The piano will be over here. The bubble will be over here. The organ probably over here as well. And so I usually do the panning later, though, not initially. So great question. Danny saw for a more rap reggae footprint. Those are two very different things, rap and reggae. Um, what would you keep and take from these instruments? Interesting question.
It just depends. Like, what kind of rap are you thinking? Because I
Yeah.
like if we were going down that road, I would take out the bass guitar and put in some trap 808s and some hi-hats and a trap snare, and boom, it's finished. But it just depends on the genre of rap, so it's possible.
Okay. You know what? I'm curious. Take that amen section of her vocal right now and the pad, copy it over somewhere else, get rid of the drums, and give me a rap trap breakdown for that amen. Just because we can.
Of course you would, bro.
Because I'm Captain Spontaneity.
Yeah. Let's try.
The audio interface that we're using right now is the Motu 828. Is it all right if I talk while you do this?
Yeah, go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah, talk it out because I'm
028
setting up.
Motu 828. It's made by a company called Motu, M-O-T-U. Okay, I'm going to put that in. Motu stands for Mark of the Unicorn. There is a question that now we've also used the Motu M4 as a small little interface. We have that in the second studio. Great question. Now, somebody asked me this question, and I love it. Is there anything like Logic for Windows that's free?
Not free.
I do not like anything that's Windows. I'll just be frank, because of viruses. But if you look in the chat section right now, I just sent you something. Go to motu.com and search Digital Performer Lite or Performer Lite. It's what I and do all my production on, but it's the light version, and it is free. And get this, it works with Windows and Mac. I just found your solution. I would do that. And while you keep setting up, any suggestions on reggae guitar plugin? Use a real guitar.
No, I don't have a
but you
guitar plugin.
you can ask Times that next week he's going to be doing the same kind of thing. He's going to be building a song from scratch from my voice memo idea that I sent to him. He'll be using guitar, splice, different loops, different things like that. Tell me when you're ready, Justin. I'm going to
keep going
through these. Do you convert your MIDI to sheet music so that it can be played at a later date? We have not done that yet. It could be done that way. That being said, no, we don't. We're the ones who play it, and we don't really read music, though we could, if we had to. So this is what I've asked Justin to do, is to completely twist the amen section, and we probably will not use it. I can almost guarantee we won't use it, but I'd like to show you just how diverse we can get with sounds and stuff. So he's going to do something a little more, maybe dancehall, trap, rap, I don't know, something urban, something. He's going to take it to the streets. And just talk us through what you're doing as you're doing it, Justin, and we'll watch and listen. Get your questions ready. Any more questions?
Ask,
ending in,
if there's more, answer one or two more.
Yeah. Nothing yet.
Cool.
But I'm waiting.
Hey, what time is it?
Oh, we have 15 minutes. We're great. We are great. So in the meantime, while he does this, I'm gonna say a few things. Okay, you're watching a genius. You're watching a musical genius. He's the gospel reggae Stevie Wonder. He is he is an incredible producer. He's my best friend, my right hand man. He's a missionary, but there's one thing that I can't say about him. I can't say that he's fully funded. And by fully funded, I mean he's still trying to get his bills covered. He's still trying to pay off medical bills from last year. Exactly a year ago, he was hospitalized while touring in Trinidad. He got really sick, and he was in there for days. And the day of our concert, we knew for sure he wasn't going to be there. He wasn't going to show up. He showed up anyways. He said, I am here to reach the lost at any cost and make disciples of all nations. And he's been with the team, CHRISTAFARI, for about 10 years. He literally is sleeping in the studio. That's how committed he is. He's not fully funded. And I want to campaign on his behalf. I want to advocate for this guy and ask you, please, Lord Jesus, will you support him? Will you partner with him, not just once, but on a monthly basis, so that he can continue to do this, get out of debt from the health care things that he has to pay for, and continue to serve the Lord wholeheartedly for free. Every time he builds a song for me like this, for us, for the kingdom, it's not for royalties, it's for free. It's to serve, and we take whatever we earn, whatever we raise, and we use it to go to Kenya, to go to, you name the place, Mauritius. I want to go to Madagascar. That's why I was about ready to say it. All over the world. And so would you partner with him today? Go to CHRISTAFARI.com/donate, and then click on donate, and then on the gift fund, if you could please choose Justin Nalimu. And if that doesn't work because you're in Brazil or a place where that link doesn't work, you can go to PayPal and just in the note, just say that it's for Justin. We're so grateful for you. And anybody who donates today will get Avion Blackman's new album. Avion, say hi. Avion Blackman's new album for free as a blessing. The second that you donate, you'll get an auto response where you can get the artwork, the credits, the lyrics, and all the music, 320 kbps, high quality, for free, just as a special thank you. Justin, what you got?
Thank you.
Amen. Amen.
almost ready, guys. One more thing, then we're good.
Sounded great. So different. I love how we can just do this, take it in a whole different directions. All right, Justin, I have one more challenge. You done there?
Sounds
Sounds pretty good.
What is it?
Let's do one more thing. Let's just completely flip it in a different direction. Same thing, just add a kick and a snare. Get.
Sure.
Make a reggaeton.
Sure. Over the same thing or add it?
Same exact everything.
Okay, I see what you want. Okay. Kind of reggaeton in Africa, but here you go, guys. Boom. So I kept the pads, kept the bubble, but everything else changed. Here's the vocals.
Nice. Awesome. Okay, a few last minute questions here. Do you
Okay.
record your vocals in Logic as well? What's your setup? Yes, we do, though it all gets moved over to Digital Performer, and that's when I typically re record. I will get into vocal setup on recording vocals for our vocal recording class next week. Some other classes we have this week. I'll get to some more questions in one moment. Promoting an album, a song, or a concert. That is
In a
in,
half hour.
gosh, half an hour. I'm going to be popping up to the studio. It'll
Yeah.
be me and Tori tomorrow. Brass and woodwinds at 3. I'm going to be teaching about sermon writing, how to write a profound sermon that sticks, that transforms people. That will be at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Next week, the last week of Ascend, Monday, June 22nd, building a song from scratch at 3. This is going to be Hanato Times' way of doing the same thing that Justin's doing, but with a different song. At 5 p.m., personal evangelism with Connor Lott and Michelle Oliveira. And that's Monday. Rocksteady ska drums at 3 p.m. next week on Tuesday. 5 p.m. vocal recording. I'll be teaching you how I record my vocals, Avion's vocals, and all our production tips. That's Tuesday at 5 p.m. 3 p.m. on Wednesday, Ministering to Mormons with Connor Lott, our sound engineer, who is awesome at that. And 5 p.m. album production. I'm going to be taking you from demo concept to completion and how to kind of start promoting the album. Today, we're going to be talking later about the promotion of the album. That's Wednesday, 5 p.m. Reggae ukulele. That's going to be Justin's last class teaching solo. He'll teach you how to do Waymaker ukulele style. Thursday, 3 p.m. 5 p.m. concert booking with me and Tori Ho'opi, how to book a concert. Friday, the last 2 classes. Everybody needs to do this if they want to be a missionary, musicianary, becoming a full-time missionary, and then, of course, how to get fundraised at 5 p.m. That's 3 and 5 on next Friday. Okay, so Justin, last few questions, should I say.
Yeah, go
How
ahead.
long have you been producing?
Since 2008.
Okay, yeah, and he's been building ideas. When I met him, he had 20, 30 songs already recorded, maybe more. On his 30th birthday, he tried to record 30 original song ideas. He's got a lot of original ideas. And then there's another question was, can you do all this in GarageBand? I'm guessing so, but we don't know GarageBand enough to answer
No,
that question.
not to the fullest capacity. GarageBand is like how iMovie is to Final Cut Pro. So you can do some stuff, but not as much as this.
Yeah. And then lastly, I agree, Mr. Gospel Reggae Stevie Wonder, smiley face. Is the timing changing throughout the song or depending on what instrument? I will say with this that we never change the tempo of a song. So if you are feeling some fluctuations, some up and down, it's how Zoom does audio. I might talk fast and then I might talk slow. It just kind of does that. But no, we are not changing the tempo of the song. Okay, there it is. What is the program called again? Logic Pro, correct?
Logic Pro X.
Logic Pro X. There you have it. Justin Kale Okalani Nalimu. I want to encourage you one last time to go to ascendmasterclasses.com. That's ascendmasterclasses.com. And when you do, you can sign up for all the other classes that we have remaining. Join us in half an hour. And don't forget, we also have this album, Avion's Fly album. It's available for everybody right now that says, I believe in Justin and I want to partner with him. And we ask for you to prayerfully consider partnering with him on a monthly basis. You can go to CHRISTAFARI.com/donate. Okay, there you have it. Love you guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.